lot, blue triangle, that's the RYP. That's a former Motiva piece of property, is the blue. The red is the Citgo property. The green is the Buckeye properties, and the yellow is the Transmontane properties. This is just a statement that they put out, 5 years ago. That's what this said. As you read that, nothing has really changed from a Colonial Pipeline position. I think it's worthwhile to talk to Colonial at least one more time to see what their true intentions are. But this has been the ongoing position of Colonial Pipeline since they closed the pipeline in 2018 and as recent as 2020. The fuel tanks out there have been out there for a long time. Getting 60 years ago, been a big presence in Montvale for a long time. Ceased operation in 2018, and I think there was a change in some market forces. There was some corporate decisions by Colonial, but a lot of it was also driven by the condition of the pipeline as well. So there was basically a business decision at that time that the cost to repair the pipeline wasn't worth the squeeze. And that was kind of a decision that was sort of made, or not sort of made by Colonial Pipeline at that time. It lose some jobs that were directly related to the pipeline, but also in Montvale there were also some smaller businesses and stores that suffered because of the lack of truck traffic that was coming in and out every day, frequenting the different stores and what all. If you look at the whole capacity, you end up having a 140-acre area of land that is pretty darn flat. That is on 460, 18, 19 miles from the interstate exit on 81 side of it is. If it was used for capacity for fuel, you'll see that with all the tanks out there, that's a lot of fuel that can run through Montvale too. Almost 50 million gallons capacity. That's a lot that was going through there. Frequently. We did have some different conference calls with the basically real estate and government relations folks from these companies. These are big companies, by the way, these Transmontane and Buckeyes. I mean, these are multi-billion dollar companies that have properties, quite frankly, all over the world. So, Montvale is just one of dozens, maybe hundreds that they have. They do make a heck of an effort in order to keep their sites up to standards, up to permit in it, and they quite frankly they have nothing but things to lose if they don't keep it up to standard, and they recognize that property. So above ground idle just means that nothing's happening there. They really haven't made any effort to close a permit. The permits are still active, but they're just keeping things. They're literally just idle at. We do have a blighted or derelict structure ordinance that does apply to these properties. But again, these properties want to maintain compliance. They have some rust on them and whatnot, but at the same time, it's not a public safety hazard. And that's really, I think, the bottom line for that. I mean, these pieces of property are behind fenced areas, barbed wire. And, the companies still have contractors out there making sure that the property doesn't fall into the derelict status. I still think it's worth the conversation with Colonial Pipeline to talk about what their intentions are, have their positions changed or not. A very different approach to energy in Washington, D.C. right now than what we have seen over the last several years. So that may open some doors that we hadn't anticipated or Colonial hadn't thought of, or maybe are thinking of. So that might be worthwhile. It's worthwhile to have at least a conversation, see what their thoughts are. One thing we did talk about with the strategic plan with the EDA is this effort is much bigger. We've got to have some sort of political champion above Bedford County. So I know Congressman Griffith has expressed some interest in this, that it would be a good idea to have sort of a joint local project steering committee. Maybe made up of a couple members of EDA, board of supervisors, maybe a couple other experts in the field, and just to work through the process.